Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Qualified Immunity. Another show, another day, another dollar that we spend discussing not only police intervention, but now we're venturing into the big wide world of politics. He's going to have so much fun with this. Should have his cousin do it.
Hurry up.
Huh?
Hurry up.
Hurry up what?
Hurry up.
Who are we talking about? That one person that can't win president?
That what?
Can't win the presidency?
Oh, I thought you said that won the presidency.
No, that can't win the presidency.
So you keep saying the words, but they just I don't understand what you're saying.
Or are we talking about the first Jewish vice president candidate since Joe Lieberman?
That too.
Or are we talking about somebody you would vote for that's actually pro-choice?
that position is conveniently missing from her website. And I haven't said that I would vote for her. I said I might vote for her. I might.
I'm pretty sure I could go find the audio saying you are voting for her.
I'm
pretty sure I can go find the audio.
You know me, I am eternally non-committal. Am I not?
Yeah, that's why you're 31 and not married.
31?
Oh, sorry. Just going off looks.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome. Today, we're going to talk in the final part of our series on the candidates for President of the United States about a lady named Hillary Clinton.
Nope. No, we are not. That is not what we're talking about.
We're going to talk about who is most likely going to be the next President of the United States.
You're finally coming around?
Yeah. Kamala Harris.
I think we should actually do a segment on vice presidential candidates.
I don't want to do Mike Pence, though. That's just going to make me want to vomit.
I mean, I'll do it, but nobody's going to like it.
No. You want to see how fast we lose friends? Let's talk about Mike Pence. Let's see how fast we lose friends.
I mean, we've already talked about Trump, and we're talking about Joe Jorgensen, so... I mean...
I didn't say we're talking about Joe Jorgensen yet.
You said that yesterday. Do you want me to go find the audio where you said that? I mean, if that's
I feel like you're trapping me into talking about Joe Jorgensen.
You have done that yourself.
Okay. He spilled it. Here goes nothing. We're going to talk about the Libertarian candidate for president, Joe Jorgensen.
Joe Jorgensen. I'm excited.
I don't get it. I don't get why you're excited.
Because the last chance I had to vote for a Libertarian, it was Gary Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Who, as entertaining as he is...
I voted for him.
I don't know that he was competent.
Because that's a freaking requirement to be president since when?
It's not a requirement to be president, it's just a requirement to get my vote. Among other things.
Have you ever voted for a president?
I voted for Romney before I knew better. Like, looking back, that was a colossal mistake.
No. I didn't want that.
I regret voting for Mitt
I
Romney.
knocked doors for Romney in a battleground state.
Was it a mistake? I just want your personal opinion. There's only one right answer, though.
No, it wasn't.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Well.
You know, you stop from making bad decisions. Wisdom. Yeah, you get wisdom.
Bad decision.
Experience. Yeah, you get experience making bad decisions.
I disagree. I've always disagreed with that train of thought.
Like, it wasn't a mistake. I'll never say knocking doors for Romney was a mistake. I mean, I didn't vote for Romney in the primary that year. That was also a hugely contested primary. Do you not remember the fight at the state convention?
I don't think I was at that state convention.
Oh my God, seriously?
Was that the one where people were literally
throwing punches,
throwing hands?
Like people were knocking each other out in the convention floor.
I'm so sad that I missed that. I think.
And then there was a second convention in the parking lot.
I think the year after that may have been my first convention that I went to.
Oh, you missed it then.
I know. I'm so sad that I wasn't there to see that.
Like you missed it.
Because you and I have sat through a lot of conventions together.
Yeah,
they're always miserable and horribly boring.
2012 wasn't.
Well, when
both of them. The one that actually happened in the hotel and the one that happened in the parking lot. Neither one was boring.
Both of those conventions were terrible. But when people get mad, that's when things get entertaining.
Oh yeah, people got pissed off that year.
But usually these conventions are like 6 hours of.
It was Romney versus Ron Paul.
Yeah.
That's why people got pissed off.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the Ron Paul people were not treated well. Which is par for the course as far as Ron
no, I won't say that. That's not.
You think they were treated fairly?
You said well, not fairly.
Oh, okay.
But when you walk into a bar looking for a fist fight, what are you gonna get?
Yeah.
When you walk into the room looking for a fist fight, what are you gonna get? They walked into the room looking for some of them, a select number of them, walked into the room looking for a fight, and that's what they got.
It's okay. I get it. You're not a Ron Paul fan.
He's now fired. He's fired.
Freedom.
Right to work state.
Oh yeah.
I'm a huge Ron Paul fan. I think you have to convince people on merits of argument, not tactical or tactitious political pandering and trying to use a rule to bypass the way things go. Does that make sense? That's what they were trying to do.
Who was it that said trying to reason with someone who is trying to argue with someone who's renounced the use of reason is like trying to administer medicine to the dead?
I don't know, but I know the phrase.
Yeah. I mean, there are some people you just can't reason with.
No, but there's the problem becomes even in 2012. You know how much money was like that was. I want to say 2012 was the first $1 billion presidential campaign, and it was Obama. Obama was the first one to spend over $1 billion.
It may have been because I remember the numbers between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were
insane,
significant,
insane. But that was the first year that there was over $1 billion spent to win the White House.
Okay.
Or an Obama year, and I'm going to say it was 12.
Okay.
Because that would have been right in the heat of the Tea Party.
Yeah.
Right in the heat of.
You're right.
Like and Romney. So I really want to know. This is a total rabbit hole, but if you watch the first debate in 2012, and then went and watch the second debate, and don't question who paid off Romney, you're out of your mind.
I will say I have a lot of Mormon friends, and those Mormons, they know things.
Mm-hmm.
I've had more than one of them tell me the problem in 2012 was that Romney didn't actually want to win president.
No, I don't think he did either. I think
he didn't want Barack Obama to win president.
Yeah.
Which that's not.
I can see that.
That's not how you win a race. It's just not.
Well, and this legitimately, like, if you go,
especially a two-way race,
and if you don't think people get paid off in Washington, you don't know how Washington works. Like, sorry,
that's not just true of Washington. That's true of everywhere.
Well, and multiple people, elected officials and otherwise, who work in Washington have said this. Outside of the murder, House of Cards is pretty accurate.
People don't get murdered in Washington?
Officially. Not unless they have evidence tying something to the Clintons.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, if you were to go back and watch the first debate between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama in 2012, and then watch the second debate, the first one in 2012, Mitt Romney looked like Donald Trump Jr.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
He came out swinging
I remember that now because I think
and jumped like 15 to 20 points in the polls, and people started freaking out.
I was in college at the time, and I remember everybody who watched it thought Mitt Romney was the guy.
Yes, like he came out swinging.
And everybody who listened to it, which remember Barack Obama was supposed to be the great orator.
And he really is.
Everybody who listened to it that I talked to said, oh, it's probably 50-50, which says a lot.
Yeah, no. And if you watched it and watched that debate back then, and then watched the second one, it's like Mitt Romney got written a check or a threat or both.
I do remember that.
And
the first one was really good, and the second one I found disappointing.
And and by the third one, the whole 48% or something like that comment came out.
Yeah.
On a hot mic, and it was over.
Was that in October?
Yeah. Like it came out between the second and third debate, I think. It was one of those. At that point, it was over.
Which, if you're running for president, you know not to make comments like that.
But you said it, and you're right. And I think this ties back into JoJo. I don't think JoJo wants to be president. I think she wants Donald Trump or Biden to not be president. Because I'm telling you, at this point, 4 years ago, Gary Johnson was doing a hell of a lot more than JoJo is.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, I want to say the Aleppo comment happened right about now.
Yeah, that's possible.
Which means he was
on national TV.
Yeah, which means he was on CNN or MSNBC when it happened. I think it was CNN. What's Aleppo? Yeah. So it's. I'm not saying she's not trying. Like,
to be fair to Gary Johnson
was so stoned in that interview. It was hilarious.
To be fair to Gary Johnson, you know this. I collect maps.
Yeah.
As a hobby. I have a map of the Middle East, including Syria, on my wall. It's not called Aleppo on that map.
Really?
It has Aleppo in parentheses and smaller print underneath it.
Oh.
I don't remember what the actual name is that they use.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still going with Gary Johnson was so stoned in that interview, he didn't know which way was up.
Also incredibly possible.
Like, Gary Johnson was like, wake and bake, let's go.
He was hilarious, though.
Like, do you really, like, I really wonder, like, back when he was governor in New Mexico, was he, like, sitting in the governor's mansion in New Mexico just smoking a bowl every single day?
Probably. I mean, it's New Mexico.
I think it was still illegal in New Mexico then.
It's New Mexico.
All right. JoJo 2020.
JoJo 2020.
3, 2, 1.
What do you want to talk about?
Start at the top.
You don't care to?
No, have at it. It's your show. I'm just here for the ride.
So, all the important stuff in 5 seconds. She's a woman. She's not a rapist. She's not a racist. She's pro 2A. She is a PhD. She has a PhD.
That's longer than 5 seconds.
Shut up. She has a PhD. She has run at least one business. I think maybe 2. She has a diverse geographical background. She went. Do I need to slow down and back up, or are we good?
No, have at it.
Just, get this.
I'll play the devil's advocate this game.
Get this. Born in Libertyville, of all places. I mean, how much better could this get? She was literally born in Libertyville, Illinois.
How much better could this get? She shows up in the polls.
Have you seen any polls?
I haven't seen any polls with JoJo in them.
She released some polls that suggest she's doing pretty well. I mean, considering that she's a third-party candidate. I mean,
she still has to get, 15% to qualify for debates?
They were double digits.
No way.
I mean...
No way.
I would, to be fair, you and I know every candidate does their own polling. And there's
bullshit.
Well, there's the private poll and there's the public poll. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
And the public poll is always more favorable than the private poll because the private poll is used for strategy. The public poll is used for public relations, to put it.
There's internal and external.
Yeah. So
there's no way she's at like 11 to 15%, realistically.
I can't remember exactly, but I think it said 11%, which means she's probably somewhere around 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Which
which means she has to double to get into the debates.
What were Gary Johnson's numbers at the end of the election?
There was at one point, I think it was the second debate, that people were pretty pissed off because he was polling like 18-19%.
Okay.
And the presidential election people, or the presidential debate people, were like, no, he's actually at 13.
Right. Which is what they do.
Like, if you're polling above 5%, you get in the debates, period.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I would have loved to see 4 years ago Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, Hillary, and Donald Trump.
I think we should lower the bar to 4% because that also gets you Vermin Supreme in there.
There's no way Vermin Supreme was polling at 4%. There's no way.
I want to say in New York he ran as a third-party candidate. I want to say independent, right?
Yeah.
And I think in New York he actually beat Hillary Clinton.
No way.
No, that's not right. You're right. Maybe it was the primary that he beat Hillary Clinton. His numbers may have been better than Hillary Clinton because I think he may have ran as a libertarian.
Oh, I can see that. He wanted to promise everybody. What did he promise everybody? A pony?
Free ponies. We're going to talk about him later.
No, we are not going to talk about him.
He comes into Joe Jorgensen's campaign through a little side avenue, so we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I hate that man. You hate him?
I hate him as much as I hate D's nuts.
Free ponies.
Oh yeah, let me go find the people that live in the government projects in South Central LA and say, "Here's your free pony."
We'll talk about that later.
Continue your JoJo rant.
Libertyville, Illinois. She attended college. She got her bachelor's at Baylor University, her MBA at Southern Methodist University, and her PhD at Clemson University.
That's scary.
Why is that scary?
She's a Methodist.
Not my favorite. But, it's a master's
Mennonite,
program.
Close enough, right?
What?
I said Methodist Mennonite, close enough, right?
It's also an MBA. I mean, come on. Graduate school is not the same as undergrad. You can't really compare.
Sorry, some of us can't afford to go to graduate school.
I think you could if you wanted to.
I want to know, okay, Gary Johnson, what have you smoked before this?
I think you could do reasonably well on the LSAT if you wanted to go to law school.
I took it once.
And what did you get?
163.
That's probably good enough to get paid.
I gotta go finish my undergrad, though. There's my actual problem.
I want to say there's one university in the U.S. that will take...
It's in Michigan.
Is it in Michigan?
Yeah. Is
it Michigan or Minnesota?
Michigan.
Okay. Well, there you go. Just apply. That's all you got to do.
I can't be a lawyer, dude. There's actually 3. There's one in Michigan, one in California, and one, I think, in Oregon.
Oh.
Yeah. There's 3 law schools in the United States that don't take undergrads.
Is it in Portland, Oregon?
I don't care if it is. I'm not going.
You could get a lot of legal experience.
Yeah, you could. Hey, what did you see on the way to class this morning? Oh, a couple civil rights violations, a kidnap, and that was before I got to Starbucks.
You should go to law school. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, but my LSAT's not valid anymore. 2,
just take it again.
Just take it again. It's just the LSAT.
It's only 8 hours of misery.
8?
I mean, technically it's 4, but you sit in that room for 8 hours.
I was like, it's technically supposed to be 4, and I'm pretty sure we were in that room for 11.
Well, I'm splitting the difference.
Where'd you take your LSAT at, though?
Here in Oklahoma.
Like, did you take it where I went to undergrad?
Yeah.
See, so did I.
Okay.
And it literally was like 11 hours and like 200 people.
I think when I took it, they had 2 or 3 classrooms.
Oh, yeah, no. We were in like one, like, Comp 1 room.
No. And by the way, your LSAT score is higher than mine was.
Okay.
But significantly higher. Like, you could probably get a lot of scholarship in Oklahoma. I got scholarship in Oklahoma. Okay, so Joe Jorgensen.
Apparently, there's one in Grundy, Virginia, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm telling you, just go to law school. Just do it.
Well, to do what? Please say be a lawyer. Like, to do what?
I don't know.
I would despise being a lawyer. You
Corporate
know
law. You could be an ADA. How's it feel?
I could be an ADA, but I would wholeheartedly get fired in 7 seconds.
Assistant District Attorney Greg Engel. Attorney General Greg Engel. That's a very political position. You would be good at it. You could do it.
I wouldn't have the money to run for AG.
Fine, screw it.
You're also talking about the idea of, do you realize how much we've been on air and the shit we've said on air?
Well, if this is their first time hearing it,
sorry.
Tough. Sorry for the shock.
Sorry, not sorry.
And if they've heard it before, what's the big deal?
Oh, Lord. Continuing your Joe Jorgensen jerk fest.
Joe Jorgensen. Bachelor's in Psychology from Baylor.
Luke is anti-KKK. He's totally pro-JJJ.
MBA.
Is jerk fest one word? Oh, sorry. Sorry, continue.
That's also not... I'm not even addressing that right now. MBA from Southern Methodist University and doctorate in some industrial and organizational psychology from Clemson.
Industrial and organizational psychology.
There's a link for that to another Wikipedia page.
Oh, there has to be, because I have no idea what in the hell that is. That sounds like a worthless degree.
Industrial and organizational psychology, which is also known as occupational psychology.
Okay, never mind. That makes sense.
Organizational psychology or work in organizational psychology is an applied discipline within psychology.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
We all know what that means.
She's a top shrink.
She began her career at IBM. She left there to become part owner and president of Digitech, which I don't know what that is.
I have no idea what that is.
There's not even a link.
It sounds familiar.
I'm guessing that was probably renamed or bought out.
Yeah.
By somebody.
I wonder if Alphabet brought it out.
Alphabet?
Yeah. The company that owns Google.
Oh, okay. That would be awkward. I wouldn't like that. That's a really awkward tie. I don't like that. Don't do that. Shut up.
Slowly destroying his dream.
Google.
I mean, she started with IBM.
Yeah, which...
It's been in bed with Gates and Microsoft forever.
I have one of the old IBM ThinkPads. Like 1998, 90...
So right when Gates and IBM got in bed together.
Yeah. It doesn't work anymore.
I have a Mac from like the early 90s and it still powers on.
That's actually worth something. I don't think mine is worth anything.
I've got one of the old bubble Macs that are colored.
That might be worth something. My IBM starts up. I can keep it running for about 5 minutes, just long enough to save something to a floppy disk. And then
Floppy disk.
I do have floppy disks. I save a lot of secure information to floppy disks because nobody else can read them.
So old.
Nobody else can read them.
Okay, you're right. Well, because my Mac is older.
I have one hidden in my house somewhere that is all of my passwords.
Joe Jorgensen Jerk Fest. Continue.
She ran for House of Representatives in 1992. Lost because she was a libertarian.
United States House?
Yes, U.S. House. Did I say that?
No, you just said House of Representatives.
No. Well, U.S. House of Representatives. She got 4,200 votes, which...
And she needed 40.
Yeah, there were, let's see, it's about 200,000.
Total votes?
200,000 total votes cast. She got 4,000, which libertarian in, was this Carolina? South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
For a libertarian in South Carolina, that's...
New Hampshire, I'm like, you might have a shot.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, 2%. 2% is pretty good.
Hey, we have a friend that beat Joe Jorgensen.
Who's that?
the mutual friend of ours that ran for Congress, she got like 27%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think we should get her on the show.
No, I'm taking that day off.
She was also a vice presidential candidate in 1996.
For the Libertarians?
Yes, she's a lifelong Libertarian. That's worth mentioning. Always been with the party.
No.
What?
The Libertarian Party has changed drastically since we were born.
It has. Which... What do you want to say about that? The old Libertarian versus the new Libertarian? Go.
The old Libertarian was all feeling this. The new Libertarians at least think.
Okay, that's not where I was expecting you to go with that. Okay.
The Libertarian Party, when we were around the time we were born, so 1990, was all about feelings and, no offense to anybody watching, getting high.
To be fair, politics has changed a lot since we were kids.
Well, yeah.
I mean, all of politics used to be that way. Ronald Reagan, ooh, yeah. He bans machine guns. We don't care. True. I mean, politics has changed drastically since we were kids.
But there's a lot of, and I'm not saying it's wrong for it, but there's a lot of libertarian, liberty-esque people that are, in 1990, was all about the feelings, the emotions, and it was more hippie than it was anything.
Okay, that's fair. And
that's why the entire reason that I stayed a Republican as long as I stayed a Republican was Ron Paul.
Okay, yeah.
Ron Paul was more libertarian in 1988 than libertarians were.
Yeah. All of politics has changed since we were kids, and in general, you just have to reason more. I mean, you have to be able to make an argument.
Well, that's because there's more outlets for people to get to you.
Right.
There's way more. That's why I like JoJo. As much as I like JoJo, she's not trying hard enough.
That's
like, she makes some cool videos.
That's fair. Cool videos, really good memes. Not quite as good as Gary Johnson, but
that's because Gary Johnson was an idiot.
Yeah, that's. But
like, I've got a better shot at winning president of the United States than Gary Johnson ever did.
Maybe you should run as a libertarian. The change in politics, I think, has been very favorable to the Libertarian Party in general.
I think it has, but the problem the Libertarian Party doesn't understand, and this is the biggest problem. This is the biggest issue I see that faces the Libertarian Party. We live in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
If there's a state that you should be able to win a seat in, it's here.
Did you ever think as a kid that the Libertarian Party would actually be on the ballot in Oklahoma? Because
no.
They
no.
I don't know if they still are. They still are statewide, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, they are.
I mean,
because they got the votes last.
That was a big move when they got onto the ballot. That was.
The problem becomes, it's just there's a difference between being on the ballot and being ballotable.
That's fair, because I remember 2014 was a joke for the Libertarian gubernatorial race.
Like, sorry, and everybody loves him, and everybody, oh my God, Carol Baskins. You know what I mean?
I forgot about. Oh my goodness.
That's my point. The Libertarian Party is consistently playing checkers and going, well, we're on the ballot. There's a third choice. If you don't want to vote for lesser two evils, you better vote gold. Tell me why. Convince me. I'm John Q. voter. Convince me to vote for you, Joe Jorgensen.
Are you asking me?
Go ahead.
She's not a racist. She's not a rapist.
Donald Trump's not a racist. He just loves America.
She's a woman. She's pro 2A.
Well, Donald Trump's pro 2A. That's my point.
Yeah. People are stupid. Is that your argument?
No, they're ignorant. They're ignorant.
I don't even know if I would say ignorant, because I know a lot of people that I've told them Donald Trump is not pro 2A.
No, he's not.
And they argue with me, and I give them facts. I give them his quotes. I give them things that have actually
Well,
happened since
and
he's been in office.
here's the other problem behind the whole libertarian idea, period, when it comes to a political party, is what do you mean you don't want laws? How the hell are we supposed to live in a civilized society without laws? It's all going to be damn anarchy.
You do that impression a little bit too well.
I've heard it. I've ran for office how many times?
Is it so hard for people to grasp the concept that maybe they need more freedom, not less?
Yes, because freedom scares the hell out of people.
Well, then maybe they don't deserve more freedom.
Well, then you're never going to have a libertarian candidate win. I mean, the one libertarian in Congress had to win as a Republican.
I mean, if you're content being a slave, okay.
Oh, God, you said the F word.
I mean, that if you want less freedom, that's what you're talking about.
They want controlled environments. There's a middle ground in there. They don't want less free. They want controlled environments.
Ironically, this was a Republican argument for a long time. You know where the most controlled environment is that you can
prison.
get? Yep, prison.
I know.
If you are
there's a bunch of Republicans out there that believe in the idea of liberty and freedom, and get the hell scared, are scared, literally have the absolute hell scared out of them when they think about it in application. Because as fast as a lot of Republicans I know will be like, well, we should get rid of the NFA and we should be able to just go buy a suppressor down at Walmart. You know what they'll say right behind that? Well, that mother over there in the trailer park doesn't need no damn guns.
Machine guns.
You get any guns.
Usually it's machine guns. That's where they draw the line, which is ridiculous.
I'm not sure I want the cartels to have machine guns. You dumbass, they already have them.
Jo Jorgensen, she's pro 2A. You should be able to buy any gun you want.
But that scares people. Because the other side of that is convince moms mad.
Demand action.
Moms demand action. Convince them.
Well, the biggest thing that you can do there is inform them about how guns actually work, because most of their political posts, most of their anti-gun everything, most of it is not consistent because they don't actually understand how firearms actually operate.
No, I mean, I agree with that.
They have posted pictures of an M1 Garand saying you should only be able to buy a hunting rifle like this one. Which it did a pretty good job hunting Nazis, but
the entire thing that reason was made was to hunt Nazis.
Yeah.
I see that. I have a lot of. Granted, I'll throw in my vote another year in a row. Like, I'm voting for Jo Jorgensen.
Right.
There's no feasible way for her to win.
Well,
and the bad part about it is, and this was what I was afraid of at the initial onset of Gary Johnson. What if she takes votes away from Trump?
At this point, between Biden and Trump, I'm not sure I can tell the difference.
Oh, I'll tell you the difference.
The economy?
Pence and Harris.
I'm not sure I really care for the difference between those people. I mean, I know they're different, but
they're like you and Pence could be like soulmates. You just have a brain.
Pence is an authoritarian.
Pence is a religious authoritarian. Oh.
So if you're watching this, I'm just going to go ahead and head off Greg's argument right now. If you're watching this and you're thinking, well, if Jo Jorgensen's not going to win, I'm not going to vote for her. Here's the thing. If you live in a state where it's already decided the Republican or the Democrat is going to win.
So if you live in any state but Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Colorado, or Nevada.
If it's already decided who's going to win, then your vote for that person doesn't matter. And the person against them really doesn't matter either. So you might as well just vote for Jo Jorgensen. Sound argument?
I'm not going to disagree with it.
If you're in a state that is actually contested, Your vote means so much more, and you should vote for Joe Jorgensen.
5 states pick the presidency.
So you should vote for Joe Jorgensen.
Florida,
Assuming you agree with her. If you don't, then just don't vote for her.
Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Colorado, Nevada.
Yeah.
Basically, I could add a couple in there, but it's between 5 and 7 states.
So if you agree with Joe Jorgensen, or if you think the way things are going now is not great,
Go read the damn Constitution of the United States and then go vote for Joe Jorgensen and just shut up.
here's the thing. Biden's been in Washington for 50 years. Trump has been president for 4. If you're unhappy with the way things are going, maybe you should vote for a different party.
Or maybe you should take a civics course and understand 90% of what Biden and or Trump want to do is unconstitutional.
And what's the solution for that, Greg?
A Tea Party?
Vote for Joe Jorgensen. Now, can we get back to actually like talking about her?
CNN boys?
CNN boys.
Continue on your jerk fest.
3/4 of our audience has no idea what that reference
No,
is.
they don't, and
And the
that's
other-
okay.
And the other quarter is
The other quarter is over there
split.
literally having a Joe Jorgensen jerk fest. I can't believe they actually just got a shout out.
That's true. I was gonna say they're probably split between that or absolutely hating me, but if they know what that is and they're against the CNN boys, then they're probably not listening to our podcast anyway.
True story.
1996, she ran for vice president alongside Harry Brown, Libertarians. Let's see, 2020, she's running for president.
No shit.
In case you haven't heard that yet,
Luke's voting for her.
she actually did not do extremely well in the primaries. I mean, she did reasonably well.
I mean, I'm going to tell you this from looking at her website. She's got some money behind her.
Yeah.
It's just not enough money.
Yeah. Because all of your elections are bought, unfortunately.
They're not bought. I don't want to say they're bought because that makes it sound like it's different than it actually is.
What does it take to win an election?
Media coverage.
And how do you get media coverage?
You don't buy it all the time anymore. Trump did it. How many minutes and hours of free media coverage did Donald Trump get?
Okay, so you have to be a racist, or you have to...
You have to be inflammatory.
Okay, so you have to be a jerk, or you have to buy it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So most of your elections are bought.
I told you I'd play the devil's advocate today.
You want to talk about some issues?
Talk about the issues. Talk about how you're going to get rid of people's health care, and you're going to get rid of their retirement, and you're going to get rid of Social Security, and grandma's going to die because there's no backup plan.
Criminal justice reform.
Oh, you just want to skip grandma dying?
We'll get there. Criminal justice reform. Priorities, man. Sorry. I'm sorry. That was
Wow!
So she opposes civil asset forfeiture, which is amazing because that's trash. I mean, you shouldn't be able to just, pull somebody over and steal their stuff without, a warrant or, due process. She also opposes the use of qualified immunity.
She can't overturn it.
You know as well as I do, presidents are powerful.
I never said they weren't.
She may not be able to overturn it, but she can get pretty close. She also appoints the head law enforcement agent in the country.
That's true. Well, she nominates them.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too. Like, even if she won, her first 4 years would be nothing but trying to get people confirmed.
You know what her secret weapon is that Donald Trump doesn't have?
What?
She's not a jerk.
Yeah, I can see that.
She might actually be able to work with people
Yeah, I can see that.
instead of having to manipulate them like Donald Trump does.
And every president since Kennedy.
The first of which would have been
The first of which would have been what?
the first president after Kennedy to do that would have been.
Oh, I hate that man.
Johnson, not Gary, Lyndon.
LBJ.
The war on drugs. She opposes the war on drugs.
Look at bitch Johnson.
Like almost every libertarian does. She wants to abolish drug laws. On gun rights, she has said that she would. She said that she would repeal every gun law passed in the last 100 years, which, as president, she doesn't have the authority to do. But presidents have a lot of authority.
I think there's a way she can do it.
She also wants to abolish the ATF.
That's how she do it.
Which has its birth. Okay, that's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Which should be a convenience store, not a government agency.
True.
It's actually BATF-E.
Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives.
Which should be a convenience store.
It should. I know a place is pretty close.
Yeah, me too. Depending on which lake you go to.
Which, if you abolish the ATF, then
there's really no enforcement arm at that point.
Right. Which some people aren't okay with. I'm perfectly fine with that.
That's because you're a damn anarchist and don't want any law and order in this country.
Yeah,
you
sure,
entitled millennial sons of bitches.
Roads.
Roads.
If you know the history of the regulation of firearms, a lot of those come in with the original prohibition of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get rid of the one agency that enforces regulations on alcohol, tobacco,
like Elliot Ness was basically an ATF agent.
He was basically the first, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and if you don't know who Elliot Ness is, go open a history book.
Actually, there's a really great movie about it.
The Untouchables.
Yes, The Untouchables. So abolishing the ATF, that's pretty good. Environment, she is pro-nuclear. And she is anti-subsidy, which I am 100% on board with.
Explain it, but okay, I'm going to say the one thing everybody's going to say. Nuclear waste.
Nuclear. There's only one U.
Are you really? I'm asking you a serious question about nuclear waste.
Nuclear waste.
Specifically, nuclear.
Okay.
I specifically want to ask you about nuclear waste.
So the question is, what about nuclear waste? And my response is, what about it? If it's radioactive, you can still use it.
Can you, though? For what? Besides causing cancer.
There's this little thing called recycling.
I'm not sure the tech's there for that yet.
They also use depleted uranium for munitions, do they not?
Oh, yeah. You know what happens to people that shoot those?
Well,
they get cancer.
I suppose another option is we just launch it into space because there's nothing out there. Just launch it into the sun. That thing's radioactive anyway.
Oh my God.
There really is not much of a concern about radioactive waste because there's not that much.
Okay. I'm just asking.
There really is not that much involved.
The people in Japan would disagree.
That's not a waste problem. That's a
fuel rods.
Well, yeah, the reactor was basically hit by an earthquake.
Yeah.
A significant earthquake. And okay, so nuclear power is emissions free and for the most part just waste free in general. I mean, there is some, but not much. She said she's pro-nuclear. Her plan is to basically end subsidies for other types of green energy. And by doing that, she says you level the playing field. Which, not necessarily, because...
Nah, I think that's a talking point. Like, I'll call her out on that. That's a talking point.
That's fair. If you remove the subsidies for green energy, well, fossil fuels are going to take over, which... Personally, I don't really think they're that bad. Coal plants are pretty clean. Have you ever driven by one?
Thanks to what?
Probably thanks to regulation.
Thanks to what? Presidential regulation.
Presidential regulation.
Yeah.
They were clean before Obama.
I don't know.
We've got one in eastern Oklahoma.
I know, but they got the regulations Obama put on them were...
We've got one in eastern Oklahoma. I remember driving by it 10 years ago, more than 10
Okay.
years ago.
I,
You know what's coming out of that thing?
what?
Steam.
Okay.
Because there's not much.
Okay. Talk about the real issues.
Free market healthcare. Is that what you want to talk about?
I was gonna say education.
Oh. Do you want to talk about education?
Go ahead.
So education,
I'm gonna sit here as he hangs himself.
She does hit the nail on the head. The Department of Education, the federal Department of Education, is doing a horrible job. If you know your history about Department of Education, it was established in the 70s. I think it was the 70s or 80s. 70s? Nixon. Yeah, 70s. It was instituted in the 70s.
1977, I believe.
I thought it was earlier. Well,
Nixon was only in office from 76.
I thought 73 was Nixon's.
No, 73 was. You're right.
Okay.
It was 74 then.
Anyway, 70s. Department of Education is instituted because American test scores are actually doing fairly well, but other countries are catching up. So since then, the budget for the federal Department of Education has ballooned bigger and bigger and bigger, and test scores have gone down.
Like, we're almost, I want to say last time I looked, we were 29th in the world.
We are severely behind, and that didn't
Like,
happen.
we're getting our ass handed to us
Yeah.
when it comes to education.
And none of that was really a problem until the institution of the Department of Education. She wants to
get rid of the Department of Education. I'll help it.
I'm trying to find...
The Department of Education has failed. In 40 years since the Department of Education was created, government spending on education has skyrocketed, while the quality of education has declined. Students used to be able to work their way through college and graduate debt-free. As president, I will work to eliminate the Department of Education and return control of education to where it belongs, with parents, teachers, and students.
Which is, number one, all true. There's some monetary policy in there that needs to be addressed, but that's all true. The federal Department of Education is really not doing a very good job.
The federal department of 90% of things that are the federal department of whatever are basically worthless.
You're starting to sound a lot like a localist.
I'm not a localist.
Anti-federalist?
Yes, I'm not a localist.
Anti-federalist. But if you abolish the National Department of Education...
I'm Thomas Paine.
If you abolish the federal Department of Education, what takes over? Your state and local school boards. Which in Oklahoma is... depends on where you're at.
Your state school board.
I think our state Department of Education should be doing a little bit better. But I'm generally for local control. Parents and teachers and school boards generally know how to educate kids better than some bureaucrat in Washington.
I am of the opinion, and this is not a localist opinion, that the maximum level of a school board existence should be at the county level.
I agree with that. A lot of people are going to disagree, but Ada, Oklahoma probably shouldn't be using the same education system that Edmond or Norman or Oklahoma City is using.
Or Boise City. And if you don't know where Boise City, Oklahoma is, Google it.
If you're in Oklahoma and you don't know where Boise City is, your public education has failed you.
You're not wrong. Healthcare, go.
Healthcare. Gotta find my section for that. Healthcare. She supports free market healthcare, which, I'll be honest, I don't like her system for this. It sounds like she wants to give everybody a bank account for this, where you basically have your little fund and you get to either save or spend it depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, because it's an HSA.
Yeah, it's a health savings account, which I didn't want to use that term because most people don't know what that is.
Seriously?
I've helped people do taxes before. They don't know what an HSA is.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's a health savings account. You have a bank account, and all of your medical funding is in that account, and you can either spend it or you can not spend it. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. There are tax implications.
I was like, at the end of the year, under the current system, don't you lose it? Like, you can't cash it out.
It depends. You can't cash it out. You can't do that.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because I'm like, I swear you can't cash these things out.
There are some provisions to roll it over into next year's spending.
Okay, that's all.
So,
But my opinion is, at some point, it's your money, and if you want to cash it out. You have the right to cash it out.
I agree. I don't even think HSA should be a thing. I mean, if you want to have a separate bank account for that, fine, whatever. But I don't need nanny government holding my money for me. I'm fine.
Yeah,
with that.
exactly.
But she basically proposes a system using HSAs, and you can save or spend, and you can. She does talk about methods of forcing healthcare providers to compete, which is a good idea. Donald Trump has talked significantly about that, and really his system doesn't really. I mean, I'm not impressed.
Donald Trump's just.
He doesn't actually know how that works.
No, he has no idea.
So,
absolutely no idea.
I've been disappointed with Donald Trump's healthcare policy.
Yeah, because they had the chance to repeal Obamacare like 19 freaking times.
There's also that. Which he did. Did he campaign on that?
Yes.
He did campaign.
Yes. And he technically, see, what he did was actually political brilliance, because they removed the penalty for not being insured.
Right.
Which means everybody else forgot about it.
Yeah. Which.
There you go. That was political brilliance.
Yeah, the individual mandate repeal was a big thing.
No. The individual mandate's still there.
Well, yeah.
There's no fine for it.
Right. Which is a lot like these mask mandates, where it's like, oh, you have to do this.
You have to wear a mask,
and if you don't,
it's $9.
There's one. Is it Edmond, where they have a mask mandate, and the fine is there is no fine. There's no provision for punishment.
That's what Stillwater's is. Stillwater didn't even fine to it.
Which is asinine.
The city council told police that business owners should press trespassing charges, and that police should arrest for disorderly conduct.
How do you enforce that?
You don't.
Exactly. So what's the point?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I still think it's asinine that, like, I'm seeing Major League Baseball players, when they get on base, put a mask on. There's nobody in the stadium, bro.
Did you see Dr. Fauci's
his deal when he was watching the Nationals game?
Oh, did you see his pitch?
No.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was.
Don't start. It was, because that means it was awful, and you know how much of a massive baseball fan I am.
You have to go watch it. It was not within 10 feet of the plate.
Just like his COVID numbers?
I mean, I didn't say it.
Sorry, you set it up.
It was literally the worst.
I'm serious.
The worst that I've ever seen.
You've got Major League Baseball players going to first base and putting a mask on in an empty stadium.
Yeah.
With 10 people on the field.
Yeah.
What? Sorry. JoJo Jerkfest.
COVID-19.
Oh God, she has a policy on this?
Yeah, her policy is, you shouldn't be mandating masks or shutdowns and stay-at-home orders. And I heard her say the other day, it was like on a podcast or something, she said, basically it should just be between the individual and the business, and whether or not they want to shop there. And
yeah, I can see that. And then you get to thing like Walmart. It's just, there's no real mask mandate.
True.
You and I both walked into Walmart without masks on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they even say anything to us?
No, because they want to make money.
Oh yeah, that's right. Capitalism, I forgot.
How much time do we have left?
Yeah, as much time as you want.
Where are we at?
53 minutes.
Oh. She is married with 2 daughters and I think some grandchildren. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 or what. Two grown daughters and a grandson.
Okay.
Anything else? Oh, Spike Cohen, her vice president. Do you want to talk about that?
No, because you already said we're doing a VP deal. Okay, talk about your Jewish friend.
I'm trying to remember what you said earlier. Was it about Joe Lieberman?
Yeah.
Oh, Joe Lieberman.
He's the first Jewish vice presidential candidate since Joe Lieberman in 2000.
Okay, well, like I said, get to talk about that now. Oh, Vermin Supreme. That's what we were going to talk about. Vermin Supreme.
I almost avoided it.
Vermin Supreme.
I was trying to avoid it.
So, originally during this presidential cycle, Cohen was a very close supporter of Vermin Supreme, whose policies included...
This is why people think the Libertarian Party is a bunch of batshit crazy morons.
Well, okay, I'll go ahead and skip down. Cohen did say after all of that, he said, the cheesy bread and the waffle, this is a quote, the cheesy bread and the Waffle House, that's the fun satire to bring people in. Then you hit them with the actual message, the actual libertarian message of self-ownership, non-aggression, and voluntary solutions and property rights, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a great strategy if it worked. It doesn't work because people think Vermin Supreme is literally crazy, which he might be, I'm not really sure. Do you want to know about Vermin Supreme's policies?
No.
Free ponies, mandatory toothbrushing, zombie power, killing baby Hitler, killing baby Woodrow Wilson, and promoting anarchy. Cohen did promise that should those goals not be achieved within the first 100 days of his vice presidency with Vermin Supreme, he would resign and be replaced with Baby Yoda. I would have...
How is this man actually running for president of the United States and I'm not?
Vice president. Oh, Vermin Supreme?
Yeah.
Oh.
I legitimately might run for president when I'm 35 at this point.
I think Vermin Supreme is from New York, and I think that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You do that in Oklahoma, you're just crazy. You do it in New York, it's like, this is funny.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, 5 minutes or less, sell me.
She's not racist, she's not a rapist.
No, actually, sell me. Not talking points, sell me.
What would you accept as...
I'm a Donald Trump supporter, sell me.
Why are you a Donald Trump supporter?
Because it's the best economy until the Democrats sabotage it with the bullshit investigation and impeachment.
Well, what has Donald Trump done to fix that?
He had the best economy in the country.
What has he done to fix the COVID-19 problem?
Because COVID-19 is all bullshit.
Okay. Donald Trump has kind of bought into it lately. I mean, he's...
I'm setting an argument up for you.
He's taking the hydroxychloroquine, so COVID-19...
Allegedly.
He says he's taking it.
The biggest argument with Trump is he's wearing a mask.
Yeah. He's wearing a mask. He believes it's a thing. He's taking medication for it. So if you're a Trump supporter and you think COVID-19 is a spoof or a joke or conspiracy theory and it doesn't actually exist, Trump believes it exists. That or he is lying to you. I don't know if I answered your question.
I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be this is my problem with libertarian politics to begin with, and why I hate saying I'm a libertarian. I'm an independent.
Okay.
That happens to have a lot of libertarian ideals.
Okay.
Because you're a lawyer. Or you're close enough for government work. It's hard to sell JoJo. It's hard to sell a libertarian party.
I don't think it's hard to sell JoJo if you're talking to somebody who is actually reasonable and actually going to think about what they're doing.
You got to sell it at a 5th grade level. There's your problem. This is JoJo and a jury are the same way. You have to sell it at a 5th grade level.
Maybe people that can't read over a 5th grade level shouldn't be free people.
I'm just saying.
I mean, that's the only conclusion that I can draw. If you cannot actually comprehend if you cannot comprehend freedom, you don't deserve it.
Like, it's fun to be a libertarian leaning person because you can always run around and gripe about the NFA and gripe about taxes and gripe about.
Speaking of the NFA, I thought about this on the way over here. It's actually not illegal to buy a machine gun.
No, it's not.
Most people don't realize that. You can go to a gun store if you go to the right one, and you can buy a machine gun.
Yeah,
I mean, they are legal to buy. You can own it.
It takes $200 in 9 months. It's illegal to not pay your taxes on your machine gun.
Yeah, it takes $12,000 in 9 months.
I mean, I was thinking taxes plus the cost of gun.
No. You can buy a machine gun for about $10,000.
Yeah, you can.
Might not be a very nice one.
H&H and Wilshire both have them.
I know of one less than 20 miles from here that has one.
Yeah.
Actually, a really nice one. It was a Ruger.
There's one over by Stoli that has a saw. It's, I want to say $13,000.
my store had a Browning automatic a
Mm-hmm.
little while back. They wanted 18 grand for it. If I had 18 grand, I probably would have considered it.
That's because that would just change what kind of bar you go to.
Browning automatic rifle.
Yep.
Nice.
But like, this is my problem with libertarian candidates to begin with, man. I'm going to vote for her. You're probably going to vote for her. You're not going to tell me you're going to vote for her. You're going to have a moral dilemma, moral conscience of crisis, like 3 days before the election. You're going to walk in the booth, you're going to see Joe Jorgensen on the ballot, and go, and vote for her. You're either voting for Joe or you're voting for Kanye. And again, I don't know who you're voting for.
Oh, God. Are we going to do a segment?
No, absolutely not.
Darn.
You're not doing a Kanye episode.
It would be so lit, though.
It's exactly why we're not doing a Kanye episode. The problem is, we're both going to walk into a voting booth in November. We're both going to vote for JoJo. And we know damn good and well when we walk in there and walk out of there, there's no snowball's chance in hell.
You keep saying that. Man,
what state's she going to win?
You are so defeatist.
I'm not defeatist. I'm
just
a realist.
Vote for her and see what happens. What difference does it make if she's going to win?
This is like saying just don't use the condom and see what happens.
No, because in the worst case scenario here, if you vote for her, is she does win.
Either way, you're getting fucked.
No, if she wins, I think that's
what
probably
state is she going to win?
What does it matter?
It does matter.
Why?
Because at that point, there's no difference between JoJo and Vermin the Supreme.
Well, the policies are different. Here's the thing. If you're voting specifically on who's going to win the election, you're an idiot. Period.
I think you have to take into account who could win.
Why? If you're going to vote for somebody because they can win, what's the point in voting for them? If you're voting for somebody because they can't win, what's the point in voting for them? The thing that you should be considering primarily is policy.
See, this is the thing. I actually think she takes votes away from Trump.
Okay.
But I'm not sure I want Biden.
Okay.
Only because of Harris.
Here's the thing.
Because since we did that episode, how many news stories have come out that said?
Well, there was one that was actually dated August 1st that came out, and I think may have been retracted immediately.
Was it BuzzFeed?
I don't remember.
I bet it was BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed has a bad habit of leaking stuff.
Harris is going to be Biden's pick for vice president. I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm not pretty sure. I'm 100% sure.
Well,
I'm calling it right now. It's going to be Biden Harris.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to place any bets on anything. I would place a bet on Harris. I'm not going to bet against you on Harris. But
it's because I'm generally right.
You and I are both usually right.
You know what? Hell with it. We're doing a Kanye episode.
Thank you so much. But if you're voting for somebody just because you think they will win, what's the point?
No, what I'm saying is you have to defeat the argument first of you're wasting your vote.
Well, I think if somebody's making the argument that you are wasting your vote, you're definitely not. I mean, what's the point of that argument?
Because they're going to look at it and say, well, Joe Blow grocery store down the street can't compete with Walmart. They're right.
Yeah. I mean,
it's the same argument with presidential candidates.
I don't think the argument transmits over.
I think it does in a lot of ways.
In some ways it does, but
not
entirely, because Joe Blow isn't trying to compete with Walmart.
And that's the problem. JoJo's trying to compete with $2 billion campaigns.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem of going viability.
Are you going to donate to her?
With what money?
That's a fair answer.
I've donated to one candidate in the last 4 years, and it was $5.
Oh, that's kind of disappointing.
Nobody else has piqued my interest.
You're just not looking hard enough.
I donated, and it was this year. I gave $5 to a congressional candidate. Who's currently in a runoff.
I'm not going to ask which one.
You know which one without asking.
Actually, I'm not really sure because as far as I'm concerned, they're almost the same person. No denial.
I want to keep some of my friends on Facebook. So
I'm of the opinion that lost causes are the only ones worth fighting for. Does that make me? Does that make me?
That explains why he's friends with me. Right there.
A little bit. If Donald Trump has a good chance of winning, which he does, I mean,
I don't think he does with Harris.
I think it's probably 50-50 when Harris enters the race.
Because I'm going to tell you this right here now. You get a Harris. There's going to be a Harris-Pence debate. There's always one. And if you remember 2008, the Palin-Biden debate, swung it.
Vice President Pence, if you are listening and you want to actually help your campaign succeed,
shut up.
Do not use COVID as an excuse not to
just stop talking, please.
Because you will not win votes on that debate. Yeah,
especially if you get conversion therapy. Or the fact that you won't have lunch with a woman. I'm just saying, there's a bigger argument here, too. The biggest problem I see with JoJo is Jo needs money she doesn't have.
Okay.
And I'm not talking small amounts of money. I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because there's a theory in ground combat. You need, and the rough theory is if you are in assaulting force.
Are you talking about 3-1?
5-1.
Is it 5-1?
It's 5-1.
Okay.
So if you were an assaulting force, you need 5-1 numbers in your favor to win. And I think that's true when it comes to JoJo. You could almost make the argument, make it 3-1, and it'd be close. But you still need, if they're both running billion-dollar campaigns, you still need $3 to $4 billion.
She's lacking in funding, which means everybody who's listening to this, if you have any inkling of support for Jorgensen, you should go donate.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to donate a little bit as soon as we get off here. Her website is jo20 jo20.com.
I like her. I'm going to vote for her. I see a massive viability issue.
I will be honest with you. Other than her, I really do not care which of those two are president. I do not care if Biden is president or Trump is president. They're both going to be nightmares. This is going to be Trump's second term.
Which means he's got nothing left to lose.
It's going to be incredibly worse than his last term was.
Because second terms...
Second-term presidents are always the worst.
Yep, because they have nothing left to lose.
I think there's more to it than that, but they are the worst.
Oh, where can they find you on the socials since you got banned from all the other ones?
I'm on the Twitter at the Lucas Cohen with a C. Not with a K.
Since I haven't gotten banned on all the other ones, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok at Greg J. Ingle, J-I-N-G-L-E.
You sure you didn't miss one?
I did. I just can't think of what it is.
Did.
Huh?
I don't know what it was.
It might have been Instagram.
Maybe.
Whatever. You can follow me on basically any platform. It's at Greg J. Ingle, J-I-N-G-L-E. You can follow the podcast. We have a Facebook page, Qualified Immunity Podcast. We also are on every single podcast platform you can think of: Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, Overcast, and at least 9 other ones. Therefore, subscribe, comment, rate it. Ratings help, comments help, subscriptions help. It all helps. Do it all. Tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your aunt, tell your dog. After you're done with that, tell your dad at Christmas or the day before Christmas, and then you have something to talk about over holiday dinner.
I think we should do a specific, I think we should do holiday episodes every time before a holiday comes up, so that people have something to argue about over holidays.
It's already planned.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome. It's gonna be so good.
I told you I spend 10 hours a day on this. I've got episodes planned out for the next 6 weeks.
In case you're wondering and listening, I do nothing. Like I don't know why I'm here.
Creative commentary. Sex appeal. That's why. Everything.
Whatever.
You're welcome. What's your sign move?
JoJo 2020. Vote gold, vote bold.
You gotta get used to that. I'm gonna end this the same way I always end this, with my favorite quote from my favorite music festival in the entire world, which is Tomorrowland, that takes place in Europe every year, unless it's 2020 and COVID's happening. Live today, love tomorrow, and unite forever. Till Valhalla, guys.